Thank you. The world I know is a world too slow. Don't move fast enough. Keep your head low. The world I know is a world much too slow. If you can't move fast enough, child, better stay on the low, child. That song is recorded and written by a great acquaintance friend of mine named Estero. And it's about a girl. It's called Country Living, and it's about a very ambitious girl that's very authentic and very unconventional, but she gets it. And in the song, she creates a scenario where she wants to find someone that gets it too. And of course, is authentic like her and unconventional. But in the first two lines of the song, it basically states that the world is too slow, and if you don't get it going, you might as well stay on the low. My name is Danielle Hobbs, and the title of my speech is I'm Not What I Used to Be, but I'm Not Where I Want to Be Yet, and How to Stay Content During Your Journey. I thought about it from a dream I had. I was dreaming one day, and I had taken a lady to the airport, and on the way to the airport, she got out of my car and said, "You need Deuteronomy 2. Now, I don't know how well-versed you are in the Bible. I'm not that well-versed, except we all know by now that I am very much into personal development, and I definitely think that there is nothing new under the sun in the Bible. It is a great personal development coach in terms of, if you said an acronym of the Bible, they say it's basic instructions before you leave earth, and I find that to be true. And when I opened up from my dream, when I woke up, Deuteronomy 2:3, it said, "You have traveled around this hill long enough, turn north." When I began to read Deuteronomy 2, it is titled, Finding Your Way Through the Wilderness. And it talked about, I forgot which prophet it was, but one that is traveling to their promise. And they have to go through a couple of tribes. And to not get stuck there, you will pay them for your food, but you are not going to stay there. You are promised this, and they were promised that. And God explains to that prophet carrying the children of Israel to the promised land that you will pay for your food, and that land is promised to them, but you will go through it on your way to your promise. I thought, wow, that's kind of like me, because I know for myself, I am on my way to a promise, and I get a little impatient, as they say, on getting there. When am I going to get there? When are we going to make it? We get impatient. And then when we listen to people like Jim Rohn guide us and talk to us through his tapes saying, you have to know how to weather your disappointments. And as a grown-up, we definitely know what it's like to learn how to weather some disappointments and keep on going towards your promise. And one of those things is to be patient. Now, as an Aquarius young lady, that really is not one of my best virtues. Whenever someone says, you need to be patient, Danielle, life throws curveballs. If you got all that you got, you really kind of don't have any other answers out there except be patient. Don't be resistant to going through the storm or going on your path to your promise. Just know you got it already and be patient. And I always go, patience, patience, Well, he's got to be patient. I wanted it yesterday. But in terms of listening to people like Jim Rohn, it has helped me to level that out in terms of being patient along your journey. But there's something else that he also adds to when I listen to him. And he says, 5 minutes. 5 minutes checking up on it is a little too soon, a little too much, a little too impatient, right? But then 5 years, that's a little too long. It shouldn't take 5 years. So you got to find your balance in between the two, which then leads me to a woman that I have really, really become very, very connected to, named Marianne Williamson. Now, Marianne Williamson, we all know, said the speech that Nelson Mandela spoke. Our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our biggest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. But in listening to some of her audiobooks, Return to Love, she mentioned something that really triggered something inside me and hit it right on the point. She said, sometimes we're scared to win, sometimes we're scared to lose. Most of the time, we're so compulsive that we're always shoulding ourselves and thinking that we should be doing better. That's something that I do, that I have learned is another trick, other than not being patient, to incorporate. I thought about it today and I said, shoulding yourself, I should be better than this, I should be farther than this, is kind of the opposite of not thinking that you're good enough. Because they both have the same unproductive effect. As long as you're shoulding what you should be doing, you're not doing anything about it. And if faith without works is dead, it's the same thing as dreaming without putting your doing into it. Most of you know that I have Dream It, Do It, Danigirl as a character. And although I see it as a big dynasty, I also have come to learn that in the walk of this journey, that Dream It, Do It is not a destination. It's not dream it, try it either and give up. It's a long journey, continuous, consistent. Keep your dream, but keep doing it, and build your momentum. So that is how I have been able to stay content in my journey. Thank you. I'm Danielle. Episodes. Okay, so, good job. I suggest if we could have a time to go over some stuff to see, because every company and style and dance studio, you're coming into history where you're learning material that is kind of like if you were at Alvin Ailey, everyone knows Alvin Ailey cry. If you're at something else, when you're here, we know how to walk. We know how to walk. Cliff, that's something he put in us. Walks, drags, turns, and having major presence on stage. Okay? So, if we could watch, if we could have a day where we watched 7 whole days, probably me, Voodoo Soul, Voodoo Sacrifice. These are things that we had been trained to walk, reminisce, yeah, we did reminisce, trio, walks. We were walkers. So we could just live doing walks possible, and that could be whole dance, and I would be like, first place, and one little leg. That's how we lived in it, okay? So what I wanted to bring to the table was, and I know it's only 4 of you guys here, but 4 is enough. I was thinking about what I was telling you guys last week and my bio and all of that, and you asked, well, what was it like being on this tour, that tour? And then, my day job is a substitute teacher, so that's like a whole nother different atmosphere. It's not as creative. And this week, I had this one class at Carter High School that was Introduction to Business. So I am so into personal development, right? So I'm like, yeah, I get to empower these kids. And then, you're hearing about entertainers out there starting their own little businesses and everything. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me talk about that because, teachers, we have to do the KWL, which is what do you know, what do you want to know, what will you learn, type of little strategies we have to do, right, to teach. And it's like, who knows about this and who knows about that? And then you're like, what do you think about that? So I had brought up some people on TMZ, Jay-Z, Beyonce talking about was TMZ saying a Blue Ivy line, right? When she's 5 years old. So this is a non-creative high school intro to business class. And I'm thinking, well, maybe if I bring up the people of today, it'll be a relative, they'll relate. And I'm like, and thank God I'm in dance class, because I can't say this in regular school. I'm like, why is no one fucking get it, right? So I'm like, what? Like, I'm like trying to be like the people of today are doing stuff. I'm trying to, give them a hands-on, like something that is in their reach, because it's in their mind frame, right? And then it dawned on me when I was in ballet class, is it that kids have no direction today, or they're not sticking with anything? And it dawned on me, and something said, I just was doing, the Balinese, and I said, you know what? Are you willing to stick with something when you win in it, when you lose in it? Are you willing to stick with it and to win again in it? Because that's what I wish I said to you guys last week, in terms of the journey of dancing and being a master of it, of any craft, I think what people are missing is that no one's been committed in a long time at something like we have been. And with you guys being in high school, I know that is something that is really missing. So I wanted to ask you guys, to me, they say a winner is there's lots of winner quotes, but to me, a winner is a person whose flame just refuses to go out. You could be 16, you could be 60. You just have this inner flame that refuses to go out. And the reason why it refuses to go out is because it's not about this year, next year, but when you're really doing something and you're cultivating it, you really gotta be in it to win it, to lose it, to fail at it. And a lot of kids, and then to win at it again. And that's real commitment to the study of your art. Because you're not going to have that. And I think a lot of times people nowadays, we're not sticking with anything because we're not sticking with the time when it's not good. And you're really committed to something, you're going to be there even when it's not good. And you're going to win again. So please think about that as you become better dancers and, scholarships and whatever you do with your dancing later on. Think about, am I in this to win this? Because you need to be committed to something that you're going to be committed to it when you fail at it, when you win at it, to get back up again from it. And that's what keeps us going. So anyway, a friend of mine, she's kind of like a clairvoyant type of, I call it discerning. You could say it in any language, psychic, whatever, wisdom filled. And we wrote this poem together. And I wanted to share it with you. It's a poem we wrote together off of some advice, and it's called Don't Put a Blanket on the Sun. And it helps me when I'm kind of trying to dim my light, but you can't dim your light. So that's really what it comes from, okay? You see, the thing is, if we let ourselves go and don't take care of our I don't care, things might explode as a volcano erupts, for we have that type of power to affect not one, but we affect many. So we gotta always take care of ourselves. You can't put a shade on your shine. It's like putting a blanket on the sun. For we do get what we want. Funny, when we don't get what we want, we act like that matters, when really we always get what we want, because we always get it. Doubt or imbalance only mean that it's time to check and see if the benefit doesn't outweigh the weight gain. Meaning, I can't put your rocks in my backpack. I can only carry mine too, as we walk side by side. And if the benefit doesn't outweigh the weight gain, then it's not worth the polar opposite effect, which always happens, by the way. It's a fact. The fact is, you want to enjoy and not dread that truth, that everything you desire comes with a sacrifice. Let's keep it only the valuable sacrifice of your time. Let's keep a simple truth that it is all about you. You add just as much to the equation. Your part is valuable too, so you don't devalue yourself by interpreting wrong or getting distracted. Simply put, don't put a blanket on the sun. It's just gonna start a fire. So let your light shine like you naturally do. You can't shade your shine. Don't put a blanket on the sun. So stop surviving and start thriving. Okay? And that's pretty deep, you know? But I think that you guys can handle that being dancers. It's kind of like, don't be afraid to let go. Do your dance. It's what you do. Yeah? People want to see you. So when you go to these dance competitions, they're not coming to see anyone but you. Titles are fun, because sometimes you think titles are what are you about, like a bio, a quick little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. And sometimes we think a title. So my name is Danielle Hobbs, and the title of my speech is How to Get Your Unsinkable Bounce Back. It came to me from a self-reflection I had over the summer. My last 10 years of my life started 2005, because it's 2015. I did Pearly at the Pasadena Playhouse and the Goodman Theater in Chicago. I then taught Beyonce and Shakira, did the Grammys, a whole plethora of jobs around the world. I played Aida, did Footloose, Annie. I wrote a book while doing that, I Dance, a simple handbook on how to start a successful dance career. I then recorded an album, Electronica, while doing Electronica at Disney California Adventures, where they played my song while I was working. And then I toured with Cirque du Soleil, doing the Michael Jackson Immortal World Tour, another tour around the world. And now I've just finished last April getting my MA in education. When you look at all of that list, you say, wow, she's really accomplished. So here's the kicker. I did all this while living at my mom's house. Because, you know, there was a recession or something like that. And the idea was we help those that help themselves. So you can get off your feet. And I ended up doing all of this instead. While living at mom's and accomplishing all of these wonderful goals and achievements, I became a personal development queen. I don't want to say junkie, I'll say queen. So I know everything. You guys know Jim Rome and just from Jim Rome to Mary Morrissey to Bob Proctor to everyone to Michael Beckwith. And I love it, love it. We'll stay all day with it. We'll probably go home and listen to T.D. Jakes' Commitment and everything when I get home today. And in the process of all of those programs, I came across a program online called How to Get Your Unsinkable Ultimate Bounce Back. But I took ultimate out because I thought it was like a quick, easy, how to get your unsinkable bounce back. Like everyone repeat after me, get your unsinkable bounce back. Get your unsinkable bounce back. See, it's got a little twang, it's got a little kick there, it's got a cute hook, right? So when I looked at this wonderful program, I saw 12 to 16 programs of 5 to 7 CDs, from meditations to affirmations to listening to things. And the first thing that went through my head was, I'm never gonna go to work if I do all this. So I showed my mom. I said, Mom, I have something funny to show you. I said, I'm gonna get my unsinkable bounce back. And she looked at it online and she said, all this? And I said, yeah, I'll never go to work. I'll be listening to meditations and doing affirmations. And it's just, you know, a lot. It's very time consuming, but a wonderful process to go through. And I also learned, of course, like Jim Rome says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I have actually gotten a great game plan on my wall, which is not normal. But this game plan came from this. When I was doing electronica at Disney, I had one little to-do list, to-be list with my Dream It, Do It Danigirl emblem. And it said, do Disney, save money, get your own place, record album, and leave me alone. If I could dream it, I can do it. And my friend Angel Santana was from Dominican Republic. He laughed at me. And he looked at it and he said, leave me alone. If I could dream it, I could do it. And so that became my first game plan of making a list of things. And I ended up accomplishing it. So from that became the game plan on the wall. And I do have pictures if anyone wants to see after. But everything that I have actually written down, I've actually achieved. So now I've got my Unsinkable Bounce Back program that's already inbred in me. Because getting my Unsinkable Bounce Back is basically the next 10 years. Getting my own home and doing all of these wonderful things with my own home and my own family and having my bounce completely, not even back, but just like literally a comet across the sky. So that's where I am now. And it's so wonderful to be here because presently I just happen to exercise this. I just came back from a J-Lo audition for residency that she is actually doing Britney Spears' place in Planet Hollywood, and I got cut. And on the way out, I heard, the gig wasn't yours. Get your unsinkable bounce back. Thank you. So, my name is Ms. Hobbs, and I have had 2 life epiphanies, revelations, or inspirational wisdoms flow to me this week. One was through a student earlier today. So I'm going to share them with you. And it'll come full circle, so just come with me a little bit, and it won't be that long. Everybody look at this glass. Okay? It's half full, okay? How many of you guys think that it's half full? Raise your hand. 1, 2 people, okay? How many of you guys think it's half empty? You are not wrong, by the way. Okay? So if you think the glass is half full, you're known as an optimist. Optimist is like, it's not really a positive thinker, it's a forward thinker. It's a solution thinker, okay? People always say, oh, positive, you're so positive. No, it's not a positive thinker, it's a forward thinking thinker, okay? People that see it as a lack or see it half empty, that means that you're called a pessimist, okay? Pessimist isn't a negative thinker, so to speak, because we need both. We have night and day. Even on batteries, a battery has the plus and the minus, and it doesn't connect unless the plus and the minus connect. You don't get negative connecting, it does that, and you don't get positive connecting. So we obviously need both, right? So, but a pessimist, they look at what's the worst case scenario. And we need people like that because you need people to see the problems, but you also need people to see the solutions. I am an optimist. I'm kind of like a realist, omniist. If there was a word that I can make up, I would call myself that because I'm weird enough to say I think the glass is whole full and it just condensated and evaporated, but that's a whole nother level, okay? That's just me being funny, haha. All right, but right now we're just gonna deal with pessimist and optimist, okay? Pessimist looks at what's the worst thing that can happen. It's just easy for them to think the worst. Optimists go, what's the best that can happen? I'm gonna prepare for the best because I already think the worst is gonna happen regardless. We walk outside, things happen. You know what I'm saying? The storms come in, car accidents happen. Things happen regardless. You can't control that. So I'm an optimist because since I know I can't control the inevitable, I'm gonna be preparing for the best. But a pessimist is like, I'm gonna look out for the worst because what's the worst that can happen? And then maybe by chance, the best might happen to me. It's two different ways of looking at life, 2 different ways of doing life. But there are people like this out there and you just gotta know which is which, okay? Which one you are. Needless to say, in dealing with this, whether the glass is half full for you, what's the best option possible for you, I'm going to college, whatever I'm going to achieve, I'm going to be a leader, I don't care what you say about me, I'm going to go do my thing. let's just say you don't come from a family, or you don't come from that you have a lot of support at home. So you are up against doubts and things like that. Every time you try to do something, you don't finish it. Or maybe you don't accomplish something all the time. That is called the law of diminishing intent. And I was praying to God, and I was like, oh, Lord, please, help me have peace. And something said the law of diminishing intent. So I looked it up. And the law of diminishing intent is basically anything that you need to do right now that you put off to do or procrastinate to do, it's more than likely you won't do it. It also goes into your lively destiny, going for things in life, goals. Anytime you don't finish something, you're basically a victim or a sucker to the law of diminishing intent. So I figured, with all of my flow of wisdom this week, that I would figure out, well, I'm an optimist, so I'm not going to just settle for that because I'm not a pessimist. I'm going to try and combat it. So I figured out that to combat the law of diminishing intent, that, by the way, is going to happen, period. You're going to have a big idea. Your first thing that someone's going to say is you can't do it. It's going to happen. It's a given. Is to ask yourself, let's just say we want to lose weight, or let's just say we want to change something about ourselves. And every time you try to change, you end up right back in. They said that in The Godfather. Every time I get out, they pull me right back in. You can ask yourself this really great question. And that is, well, what's it costing me to stay the same? If every time I go for it, I fail, or I don't finish, or I don't accomplish, that is a pattern of mine. So what's it costing me to stay in this pattern? And I'm not talking about money. So you ask yourself this question: what's it costing me to stay like this? What's it costing me to stay overweight? What's it costing me to stay a negative person? What's it costing me? Is it costing me my relationships with people? Is it costing me my relationships with myself and my own self-worth? I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the cost. Things cost. Nothing is for free in life. My father used to say that all the time. There is no such thing as a free lunch. You think lunch, food, money. No, what he meant was there's no such thing as a free lunch. You're going to pay for it one way or another. You may pay for it differently, but you're going to pay for everything. So what's it cost for me to stay in this? For me to stay like this? For me to stay. What's it cost for me to stay the same? And I thought that's a great combating question to ask yourself, to bust that paradigm shift when you're up against the law of diminishing intent, okay? The second thing of my epiphany came from one of you guys. A student came in today and she said, I'm angry. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? And she said, I don't like being angry. And I said, you know what, I'm not really not trying to be philosophical and all. This might be a little too deep, but let's just go a little deep here. We only get angry and frustrated when we don't know what to do about something. Just think about it. Think about the last time you were angry about something or really frustrated. It was usually probably an experience that you didn't know what to do about that situation, or you didn't have a helping hand about the situation, which goes back to not knowing what to do about the situation, because we're all responsible for ourselves. But it probably was that vulnerability. That's why you lashed out. That's why you reacted. That's why you didn't think before you spoke out, or whatever you did. Just think about it. Do we rarely speak out when we know what to do about something? Do you speak out when you know what to do about something? Let's see, if someone said something completely dumb to you, and you were just like, That was a dumb thing to say. You know what to do about the situation, and you just don't get mad about it, right? But what about the times that we don't know what to do? So what do? We resist, we fight back, we react, we get angry. So I said, well, maybe things wouldn't be so frustrating if you just admitted to yourself, I don't really know what to do with this. You may be telling me something, some information, I can let it frustrate me, but the truth is, I don't really know what to do about that. I don't really know how to process that. And I'm not gonna allow myself to be frustrated or angry because I don't know what to do about that. Does that make sense? Yeah. A little bit? So it's just a little trick to think about to combat those little negative emotions that you will go through for the rest of your life. The law of diminishing intent is very important though, because that's the big thing that comes up against you when you are trying to move into another level or reach a goal that you've never tried before. You know, so it's good to ask yourself those questions, especially when you want to make a big change, like losing weight or something like that, or just becoming a better person. You know, you're going to be up against, you can't do it, da 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 da. Your father was like that, da 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 da. And sometimes you just need to just sit down and go, well, what's the cost of me staying like this? What's it costing me? All right, that's it. Happy holidays, season's greetings. My name is Danielle Hobbs, and this is my icebreaker. Thank you for having me. When I read about icebreaker speeches, it said, tell a little bit about yourself. Well, I love to talk about myself, so a little bit about myself would be, I'm a teacher, I'm a performer, I'm a choreographer, and I have had my hand on performing around the world. But that is just the glacier peak of breaking the ice. When I think of ice breaking, I really think of the common grain that's in all of those things. And that would be, I have always embraced diversity. It started when I was a child, growing up in San Bernardino, a very multicultural, diverse community, and overhearing adults talk to my father as a city councilman about how to make the community better. Going on into performing around the world with Cirque du Soleil, which I like to nickname the UN of the arts, and having a Mongolian roommate whom I, while performing, helped her to read and write and speak proper English. All embracing diversity. In fact, in so many different aspects of my life, I have always embraced diversity. When I taught Beyonce her solo for Baby Boy, I said that is not a West Indian song, that is an Arabian song, and she should learn an Arabian dance like a princess. And when they came back, my boss at the time, I had embraced diversity by creating an Arabian solo. When I'm in the classroom and I teach children to believe in themselves and dream it, do it, I ask them to say it in their language, whether they're Spanish, Swanuelo, Hazlo, or whatever other diverse culture background that they come from. Again, embracing diversity. And when I sing, I have a song called What, which is an anti-bully, don't talk about me behind my back, but I ask people to actually show me how to sing it in different languages, which I incorporated singing it in Hebrew, Spanish, and French. Again, all diversity. But there's one more step to that, because I thought to myself, well, it's not just embracing diversity, I actually value it. And I thought of one of the reasons why I do value it. When I teach, and I have to teach social studies, I have to teach about the Constitution of the United States. Well, the First Amendment is freedom of speech, freedom of race, freedom of religion, and so on and so forth. Again, basically embracing diversity. So I have always done this my whole timeline of my whole life in every facet of my life. And I invite you all to do the same, to dream it, do it. Swanyalo, Hazlo, embrace diversity. We're all diverse in here, and thank you for my icebreaker. Bake Your Cake of Wisdom by Artistic Director, Master Clifford Breland. As a performing artist, we have a gift of touching lives and lifting people up through our gifts. In my Father's house, there are many mansions, the Bible says. Performing artists have energy, and it truly is energy work. However, like baking a cake, you need your ingredients, and you need to put it in the oven, or your cake will not get made. As performers, we create like baking a cake. We have to present ourselves and make sure the energy that we present is correct. This is because energy works through us because we're performing artists. God's living energy, so we have to honor our energy. This makes us very sensitive. We are not normal. We can feel, see, touch, and sense things that other people cannot do because we are creative. So we can feel things that aren't present that normal people cannot feel. Even in doing the work, keep in mind, not everyone is for you. It's not personal, it's just the way it is. Some people don't want you to make it. They don't want you to lift that leg. They don't want you to keep your balance. And that's okay, because truly it's your purpose and responsibility to give your gifts, not to worry about your haters or what people are saying about you, or that they're even jealous of your presence that brings light and beauty that they do not have. So people are always going to be talking or acting like they're not feeling you for whatever they're going through. You know when someone ain't feeling you, ignoring you, feel like they shade a thick veil or wool over your head, hiding something from you, disguised as your destiny. You don't have to ask or see about it. You can feel it, and therefore you have to honor your energy. You got to get centered, go within, and not fall for the illusion that someone would even have your destiny in their hands. No one has that much power unless you give it to them. And give your gifts that you are supposed to share away like it's cheap stuff is not honoring your purpose or your responsibility. You are not a cheap bottle of wine. That's what my mom used to say. You're more like a vintage top shelf from the 1930s. So go within, and then you can walk and navigate around it. What matters is, truly, it's your purpose and responsibility to give your gifts. Give the gifts God gave you, the gifts love gave you, and give your ultimate best. Sometimes the works you do are bigger than you. Truly, most work is all about God. It's all about what you bring that completes the work. You may have a light that only you can bring. Some things may use you just because you bring love and light, like ingredients to a cake. But the cake still has to get made. What I'm saying is, no matter what, you still have to cook. You can walk through life asleep if you like, but performers wake people up. They lift people up. And it's not about you or having a big head and a stuck-up attitude. The world doesn't owe you nothing. And truly, that mindset is not creativity anyway. Creativity is love. Giving your love, sharing it to lift people up. That is how the performing artists that are timeless and brilliant did it. They did it from love. Love is timeless. Love is eternal. So bake your cake. Hate separates, and it never solved any problem yet. Maya Angelou.